Welcome back, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. If you're a focused learner looking to completely transform your reality, well, you are in the exact right place. Today's explainer is all about moving away from that scattered, reactive, totally unconscious way of living and shifting into a highly focused, purpose-driven state. We are pulling directly from some incredible source material today that lays down a blueprint for tearing out your old, glitchy foundation and putting down something rock solid. We're talking about rebuilding yourself from absolute zero.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Seriously, ask yourself, when was the very last time you spent a full day thinking only about your growth, your goals, and your peace of mind, without immediately reacting to someone else's highlight reel or someone else's fake emergency? If you're drawing a blank, well, you might just be living an unconscious life. Most people wake up, open their eyes, and immediately hand over their mood, their focus, and their entire day to the outside world. And the culprit for that unconscious living? It usually boils down to this staggering number, 96. Research shows that an average person checks their phone 96 times a day. Let that sink in for a second. That means roughly every 10 minutes, you are pausing whatever you're doing to hand your precious attention over to an external distraction. Guys, it is literally impossible to build a masterpiece of a life if you are dropping your tools every 10 minutes.
So, how do we actually fix this? Well, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to breeze through 5 crucial areas: the scattering effect, the self-focus myth, rewiring your brain, building your daily system, and finally, conquering distractions and noise. Stick with me here because by the end of this, you are going to have a step-by-step, scientific guide to achieving absolute peak focus. Let's get to it.
We'll start with Section 1, the scattering effect, the invisible enemy. The scattering effect is exactly what it sounds like. It's the state of having your mental energy completely dispersed in 1,000 different directions. You know the drill. You wake up, you promise yourself you'll just check one quick message, and suddenly you are 20 minutes deep into watching videos of raccoons eating grapes. Your brain has been hijacked. You are letting other people's agendas completely override your own before you've even had breakfast. You're giving away all your energy to the noise, leaving absolutely nothing in the tank to build your own inner potential. And here's the thing, the damage completely compounds. 23 minutes. Studies actually show that when you get distracted from a task, it takes your brain over 20 minutes to fully recover and get back into a state of deep focus. Now, if you combine this with the fact that we check our phones every 10 minutes, the math is honestly terrifying. It means a constantly interrupted person is never truly focused. Ever. You are basically living in a permanent state of mental fog. Which naturally brings us to Section 2, the self-focus myth. Why self-care isn't selfish. For years, society has essentially guilt-tripped us into believing that self-focus is selfish. But think about the airplane oxygen mask rule for a second. When the cabin pressure drops, what do flight attendants tell you? They tell you to secure your own mask before helping anyone else, even your own children. Are they telling you to be a terrible, selfish person? No, they are telling you how to survive. Because if you are passed out, empty, and weak, you just become a burden. But if you take the time to breathe, to get strong, you instantly become a source of strength for everyone around you. Just notice the massive difference between these two mindsets. With internal focus, you get an internal locus of control, which is a fancy way of saying you take 100% responsibility for your life. You focus on your own habits and skills, which builds real strength. Conversely, an external focus creates a straight-up victim mentality. You're constantly worrying about what others think, and you get entirely drained by events you literally cannot control. Shifting to that internal focus is exactly what puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. All right, Section 3, rewiring your brain, the science of change. And this brilliantly illustrates why making that shift feels so incredibly difficult at first. You got to realize that your brain isn't necessarily your friend when it comes to growth. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a survival and prediction machine. It absolutely loves familiar, safe routines because they conserve energy. Whenever you try to change, like waking up earlier or dropping a bad habit, your brain literally views that change as a threat. It releases stress hormones to create friction. So that feeling of resistance you get when you try to change, it's not a sign that you should stop. It's just your brain throwing a little tantrum because it wants to stay in its cozy comfort zone. But here is the incredible news. The science of neuroplasticity proves that your brain is not made of stone. It is made of clay. You can completely reshape its wiring at any age. When you feel that resistance we just talked about, it just means your old software is trying to update. By pushing through it, you are literally hacking the system and carving out brand new neural pathways in your mind. How cool is that? So to rewire that clay, you need these three principles. First, repetition with intention. You can't just sleepwalk through the motions. You have to consciously choose the new habit over and over again. Second, emotional connection. You need to attach strong, positive emotions like pride or joy to your new habits so your brain adopts them faster. And third, updating your core identity. You aren't just trying to read more. You are a reader. You have to completely align your thoughts, your emotions, your tasks, your body, and your environment to this brand new identity. Moving on to Section 4, Building Your Daily System, Execution over Enthusiasm. Okay, this is where we shift from the psychology in our heads to the actual physical frameworks you need every single day. We really need to shatter the myth of motivation right now. Motivation is a total fair weather friend. It's there when the sun is shining and you've had a great night's sleep, but the exact second things get hard, it vanishes. Highly successful people, they do not rely on motivation or willpower. They rely on systems. A system is an automatic, reliable routine that carries you forward even on the days you feel completely, utterly exhausted. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is the willpower battery. Think of your willpower exactly like your phone's battery. You wake up fully charged at 100%. But as you make decisions, deal with traffic, and handle stress, that battery just drains. By the evening, you're lucky to be at 10%. This proves exactly why you cannot leave your most important self-focused tasks for the end of the day. If you want to rebuild yourself, those tasks absolutely must happen first thing in the morning when your battery is fully charged. And when you build that morning routine, you've got to apply the concept of the minimum effective dose. I see so many people design these rigid, robotic, 2-hour morning routines that look amazing on social media, but completely fall apart in real life. Instead, build a routine designed for your absolute worst days. Because consistency beats intensity every single time. Doing a highly focused 10-minute workout on a terrible day is vastly superior to doing nothing just because you couldn't complete your perfect 2-hour plan. Just keep the chain unbroken. And that brings us to Section 5, Conquering Distractions and Noise. The final boss. Look, modern apps are literally designed by neuroscientists using a casino-like variable reward system to keep you addicted. It's not a fair fight. To fight back, you need environmental design. Step 1, audit your distractions. Spend a week just tracking how often you mindlessly grab your phone. Step 2, add friction. Create massive physical barriers to your bad habits. Literally leave your phone in another room while you work. Step 3, build focus habits. When you feel bored, don't automatically reach for the screen. Redirect that energy. Take deep breaths, write down a goal, or just sit in silence. The goal is to make your bad habits incredibly difficult and your good habits practically effortless. But hey, it's not just external noise, right? We also have to conquer the internal noise. Constantly worrying about the past or stressing over the future drains your mental energy just as much as a buzzing phone does. The ultimate tool for this is the brain dump. When your mind is racing with fears, tasks, and what we call open loops, things you started but haven't finished, just write them all down on paper. Getting them out of your head and onto the page literally frees up your brain's RAM. It tells your brain, hey, it's okay, we've got this safely stored, allowing you to finally just relax. So why do we do all of this? Why do we build these systems, add friction, and clear our minds? To achieve this, deep work, or the flow state. This right here is the ultimate reward. It is a state of such extreme clarity and focus that just one single hour of your effort can produce the results of 8 hours of normal, scattered, distracted work. This is the secret weapon of literally every top performer in the world. They aren't magically working more hours than you, they are just operating entirely without the scattering effect. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. Your competition is not with others. It's with the person you were yesterday. Rebuilding yourself is never about being better than your neighbor or your coworker. It's about tearing down your old self and upgrading your own internal software. So I'll leave you with this. What if you completely committed to disappearing into your own growth for the next 6 months? If you tear down the noise today, stop reacting to the world, and focus 100% on rebuilding your systems, who exactly will you meet in the mirror tomorrow?